Welcome to Radical Cram School. We're going to learn about social justice, revolution, and how to be powerful in the bodies that you have. Hello, my young comrades.
Hi.
I'm going to show a picture. This is my way of figuring out if you've been tainted by the patriarchy.
Patriarchy? What? Who's that?
Who do you think it is?
This looks creepy.
It looks creepy. Why?
There's just like this thing about white people that just makes me be like, I'm like they're like right there in a pool, and I'm just like walking into the pool, and they just give me the death stare, and then I'm just like.
So if this guy was in the pool, you would moonwalk out.
Yeah.
Does he look like a good guy or a bad guy?
Bad guy.
Who do we think this is? Make a guess.
Oh, Dumbledore.
Dumbledore. Who is he married to? Who's your guess?
Katy Perry. It's Donald Duck.
What do we know about him? What do we know about him?
He's bad. Unfortunately, the president. I want to fire him. I want to build a wall.
How do we feel about this wall?
It is blocking opportunity for people that don't live in America to come here for a better opportunity.
And we all came at some point from some other place.
My dad came here and my mom came here too.
They came here from where?
Cambodia.
Oh, wow. What do you think they think that they came from all the way to Cambodia and this is what they get to look at on the TV screen all the time?
Hello Kitty!
It is Hello Kitty. What is she missing?
Where's her mouth?
No,
Her mouth. Why doesn't she have a mouth?
The people who created her didn't want Asian girls
To speak up about who they are.
Yeah, to speak up about who they were.
Very profound, very profound. So if Hello Kitty had a mouth, what would she say? If she had a mouth, she's been keeping vaulted up in her all these years. Let me hear it. Alyssa, what are you gonna say?
I love you.
Oh.
Radical Cram School!
Welcome to Radical Cram School. We're going to learn about social justice, revolution, and how to be powerful in the bodies that you have. Hello, my sisters.
Hi.
Words are very powerful. Oh, yeah. So I'm going to show you some words. Yes. And you're going to tell me what you think it means. What is this?
Misogyny.
Misogyny. What do we think it is?
Massage?
The misogyny parlor? That could be a thing. So misogyny is the hatred of women. Is that weird?
Yeah. Weird. It's not fair to hate your mother or your sister or something like that. Gender non-binary.
All right. What does this mean?
You're gender fluid.
You're gender fluid. Wow. What does gender fluid mean?
Like you can be any gender you want to be. You're not a boy, or like you're not just a boy, you're not just a girl.
Yeah. Does anybody know anyone who's gender non-binary? Elle?
I am gender fluid.
You're gender fluid.
Yeah.
That's a wonderful thing. Thank you for sharing that. So when people talk about genders only being two things, you go, no, there's actually gender non-binary. It's a thing.
It's a thing.
What is this word?
I think it's like when you're hurting someone, like press, if you're like making a sandwich and then you just press things.
Like a panini?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the opposite of depression.
So this is depression, and then oppression is like, yeah, I'm oppressed. So oppression is things like racism, when rich people are being awful. This is maybe the most hidden kind of racism that there is. Our identities have intersections. Have you ever heard this term, it's a man's world? Slowly annoying. One day it's too much and you're like, ah! Yeah, oh, Brooklyn.
My cousin, she can be a little bossy. And one day I had enough and I said, I'm leaving. And I made her mad because everyone followed me.
I feel like I was that girl when I was your age, but that's an aside.
Radical Cram School!
Welcome to Radical Cram School. We're going to learn about social justice, revolution, and how to be powerful in the bodies that you have.
Hello, kids!
Hi!
I'm Hannah Rochelle, but my Chinese name is Mei Lan. You can call me either Mei Lan or Hannah Rochelle. What's that smell? Oh, no! It's Donnie the bully!
Meilon Ching Chong, what kind of name is that?
You look like a Ching Chong Choo.
But that's not my name. It's Hannah Rochelle, bully!
Your English is really good. For an immigrant, Wing Wong.
Donnie clearly cannot see me as anything but as a foreigner, even though I have lived in America my whole life. This is a case of structural racism. Say it with me.
Structural racism.
Why are you whining? Everyone knows you Asians are naturally good at math and getting into good colleges.
Hey, that's the model minority myth, which is a byproduct of
Structural racism.
You should be studying and be quiet and grateful that I even let you stay in this country.
You aren't letting me stay in this country. I belong here as much as your farty butt does.
Yeah!
Watch out, Donnie, because once we defeat structural racism, you will actually have to work as hard as we do to get ahead of us.
Yeah!
I believe in me, and I believe that the best way to stop bullies like you, in the great words of Congresswoman Maxine Waters, is to reclaim my time.
Yeah!
Whoa, the power of this girl is unbelievable.
I believe in supporting other marginalized people and uplifting those who aren't heard. I believe that Black lives matter, that trans lives matter. We must work intersectionally to defeat systems of oppression. I believe that for all of us, we need to reclaim our time.
Oh, no, I can't believe she reclaimed her time. Oh, goodbye.
You're fired.
We did it! We succeeded in defeating. What did we defeat, kids?
Structural racism.
Let's give a hand for Hannah Rochelle. Does anyone else have a name that they don't use at school?
Chen-Yu.
And that's your Chinese name? When Donnie the bully was calling Hannah Rochelle Ching Chong Chu or things like that, has anybody ever had that happen to them?
Well, my dad said that happened to them. He said he didn't like it. It was a mean thing to
It
him.
was mean, yeah.
Sometimes people are saying really weird stuff. Like, how do you pronounce it? And it's just like, it's exactly how it looks.
Why do you think bullies do that to people?
Because sometimes they're insecure.
They're insecure. Hello, everyone who's attending DCATS. My name's Kristina Wong. You're catching me midday in my home office, and I was asked to answer some questions about my work and my process. Thanks so much for watching Radical Cram School. It was definitely a labor of love. It came about because my friend Teddy Chow, who is married to one of our producers, Anna Michelle Wang, who also does the music and the puppet work on the series, asked if I would sit down with their daughter Liberty and talk to them about what it means to be a strong Asian American woman, which apparently Teddy thinks I am. So I blurted out, let's shoot a web series, and that morphed into the 6 episodes that you see that is Radical Cram School. So we put that together in about 4 weeks. Well, I'm looking at some questions here. One question I have is your work, Wong Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That was a solo show that I toured for 8 years between 2006 and
2013 was a thought-provoking performance about mental health issues among Asian American women, and with Radical Cram School, you're tackling social justice issues that affect Asian American women. While the former uses the platform of live performance and film, RCS is YouTube. Why did you decide to use YouTube to showcase your work, and how has digital culture changed over the years? Okay. So I have a very much of a love-hate relationship with digital media. I think I've always been making live work. I've been making live work for 17 years. And when YouTube came along in around 2005, I kind of missed that train, and people weren't coming to theater in the same way. And it was just like, I just felt like this cave lady who was like doing shows. But the thing is, because I do something that can't be replicated, that's actually what kept me working and touring at schools, is that I provided an experience that not a lot of artists could replicate, which is doing a show over 80 minutes with no editing, no breaks, no filters. And what YouTube has done, as I have not made any money from my YouTube projects, it has just helped proliferate my identity, my ideas out to a bigger audience. What it lacks, though, is that kind of empathy and compassion that people get when they sit down at my shows for 80 minutes, is that people are not forced to engage in a meaningful way the same way they do when they actually are looking me in the eye and I'm looking back at them. So I definitely have seen how my audiences have changed at colleges. It used to be they were really engaged, and then now they like bring out their phones, or they think that I can't see them back. They think it's like Netflix, like I'm behind a screen. It's like, no, I can see you leave. I can see you. I'm not saying that everyone walks out of my shows, but that's what I'm dealing with. And it's been a tricky negotiation, and I feel like I am grateful that I still do live work, because that will always be the more nuanced work that I do. And YouTube has brought me a lot of great audiences that are willing to sit down and be with me longer and engage longer. But yeah, one of the reasons why I just had to do YouTube was sort of a necessity of, like, as an artist, you need to let people know who you are and build a certain notoriety. And I have a joke in my recent show, Wong Street Journal, that the more you piss off the internet, the more they know who you are, you know. So sometimes bad press is great press. Another question I have here is most studies report that Asian Americans are far less likely to seek mental health treatment compared to any other ethnic group. The idea of shame is so ingrained in many Asian American cultures, it's become a very heavy subject, where it often stigmatizes people who dare to openly discuss difficult topics. You seem to tackle a wide range of issues that are not easily talked about among Asian Americans with great humor. What role does humor play in your work as an artist and writer? I think humor is everything. I think humor, like when I wrote Wong Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, I actually had kind of imagined it to be a very serious show, but it was so painful to perform, and it was so painful to talk about things like depression, that I found myself making fun of myself in the process, sort of as just a self-preservation mechanism. And I'm always now just looking at how can we find the humor in this without making fun of the victims or punching down. So for me, it's both about self-preservation, but also finding ways to welcome and bring people into a story or experience. So it's not like, oh, come watch my downer for 80 minutes. What do you want to achieve with Radical Cram School, and what's next for you? Well, I think it definitely achieved the original intention, which was giving Liberty, Teddy's daughter, who you see in the series. She's the very vocal one who raises her hand a lot, and it definitely gave her a chance to explore these issues quite publicly. I hope that it brings a space for Asian American kids, girls, and non-binary children to talk about social justice. I feel like social justice issues tend to not know how to include Asian American children, and as a result, Asian Americans are already this wedge between white people and Black and brown communities, and it's very unclear, like, are we marginalized? Are we next in line for white privilege? And I feel like this to me is a way to create a visual representation of young Asian Americans interested in social justice. So that was something I wanted to achieve. I also just wanted to see a bunch of Asian American girls in a room with some tongue-in-cheek humor. And what's next for us is we are currently working on season 2 of Radical Cram School. We've finished fundraising and we've outlined 6 episodes. The next 6 episodes will have a little bit more puppets, music, and scripting. We're interested in exploring Asian male identity and encouraging young Asian boys to think about healthy masculinity. We're exploring undocumented immigration. We have an episode where the kids will be meeting with Mia Yamamoto, who is a transgender civil rights attorney who was born in Poston, Arizona in an internment camp. So we're so excited about that because we feel like Mia is my neighbor. I've known her for 20 years, and what an amazing opportunity to have her interface with youth, but in this way that might have some permanence years from now. So that's what's next for us. I'm also running for public office as a performance art piece called Kristina Wong for Public Office. You can look for that on Facebook, and you can sort of see this sort of seamless performance art piece, performance art / real life campaign for public office that I'm doing. So, and we're also exploring civic participation in that in the next season. So you can follow me at KristinaWong.com, and thank you for watching.